Hey everyone, Coach Powers here, and I want to talk about a dangerous diagnosis that you may hear from your doctor. And most likely, if you've heard this, you probably didn't even know what it meant. It might have flew right over your head. Maybe it wasn't exactly a diagnosis, but it's probably something you've heard your doctor mention or bring up with in concern of your condition and your symptoms of withdrawal. And before I get into that, I just want to say, I've had many clients over the years ask me to speak with their doctor or doctors. I've taken many Zoom meetings and group calls with different physicians to talk about a client's condition, what what future treatments might look like, that kind of thing. And usually when my clients bring me on, they really are just asking me, can you please help my doctor understand this, because they can't hear me. And so one thing I've noticed that has come up a lot in these kind of conversations when I'm doing a Zoom call with multiple doctors or just a doctor is this diagnosis called factitious disorder. And what that means is essentially the doctor's telling you, he thinks you're making it up. He thinks that you're looking for attention, you're for whatever reason, but essentially you're just exaggerating, making up symptoms, choosing to lay in bed and to report all of these horrible things, usually so people will give you attention. Or maybe you're trying to get on disability or something to that fashion. And, I've heard this come up a lot, and a lot of my clients say, I heard him say that. I didn't know what that meant. What is a factitious disorder? Right, goes right over their head. And I think it's a dangerous diagnosis, for one, because you talk about the most extreme form of gaslighting, to say that someone is making this up. And I've literally fought, wars on these Zoom meetings with some of these doctors, going round and round, listening to them and trying to convince them that, who in their right mind would make this up? Who in their right mind would become bedbound and lose weight and stop sleeping and be afraid of doctors and have multiple panic attacks a day and all of these symptoms? But of course the doctors to that just say, well, I don't think all that's happening. I think they're faking all that. They're kind of malingering. They're pretending to be sick when they're not. And it's infuriating, and one thing I want to get across to you, and like I try to get across to these doctors, is that there's a difference between making it up and having a displacement or a manifestation of real symptoms, right? So let's talk about health anxiety. What's health anxiety? Health anxiety is worrying that you might get sick. But if things progress long enough and serious enough in this direction, then something else happens. What is called somatic symptoms disorder. Now you're actually having symptoms manifest. You're worried about getting a chest cold, turns into trouble breathing, even though there is no chest cold. And so this is very different than someone, a factitious disorder, which says you're just pretending that you're having trouble breathing. No, my clients, I have never had a single client in well over 1,000 people I've worked with over the last 10 years. I have never had one that I believed were making up any of this. There was no claims for disability, nor I don't even know anybody that can get on disability from coming off benzos. That seems like a very uphill battle. And it's nonsense. It really shows that these doctors don't know what they're looking at such a level that they have to make this connection that, oh, you know what, makes sense. My patients making it up. They're making it up. Month after month, they're coming in, they're losing weight, they're not sleeping, they're looking disheveled, and the doctors will then say, it's not just a factitious disorder, it's a personality disorder. This patient is narcissistic, they're borderline, they're histrionic, they're attention seeking. This is a manipulation form. We're part of their audience. They want to make us dance, the doctors or the people around the person that's going through withdrawal, the family and stuff. Like this is all orchestrated by this person in kind of a almost evil or sort of immoral way to manipulate people for their own self-gain or gratification or whatever. And again, I don't think they see that it's usually somatic symptoms. I would say usually, I would say every time. I mean, maybe there's one or two people that play this game of making it up. I've never met them. I don't think any of you have ever met this person. But symptoms can manifest. You can literally go from, having a fear of having a heart problem to really having nonstop heart palpitations, to having POTS and having all kinds of stuff. I mean, all kinds of things can manifest directly into the body. And it's very confusing. And if things progress even further, then we start to see kind of functional neurological problems like muscle twitches, severe nerve pain. It verges on a pain disorder. And we see that too. And this usually starts, again, this person had health anxiety. It manifested into a somatic symptoms disorder where then they started actually having these physiological things. And then those things manifested into something much more serious and debilitating, such as like real trouble breathing, severe pelvic floor, GI issues, pain, nerve, all of this stuff, lots of functional nerve stuff. And again, this is not anybody making it up. And it just shows us, how tall this mountain we're trying to climb in the medical community to get them to understand it. That the way they're rationalizing it, they're not even going to what I'm talking about first and saying, well, maybe it's a somatic symptoms, maybe it's psychogenic, or no, they go right to, I think this person's making it up. This person probably just wants attention. We're part of the monkeys in their circus. They want us to dance and juggle, and I'm not playing this game. Matter of fact, I'll rip you off the meds, right? And I've even seen doctors who think this way sort of play hardball with their patient, right? So just something to be aware of, guys. If you hear this term, factitious disorder, come out your doctor's mouth, now you're equipped to know what he's talking about, he or she's talking about, and hopefully you can push back gently against that. Of course, you don't want to piss off your doctor, and that couldn't be pleasant either. But we also we shouldn't be like slaves to our doctor. We hired them to help us. The problem with this is once you get into a tapering process, it's hard to get in to see new doctors, and it's even harder to get a doctor who's going to be benzo friendly and is going to, assist you in the right way in your taper. So then they do have you, right? So something to consider, I think before you get into a taper, my advice is to have a real good conversation with your doctor and get on the same page with that person. And of course, if you hear this term factitious disorder come out of their mouth, you need to have a much deeper conversation. Hey everyone, I'm Coach Powers, and I'm excited to announce the launch of my new online Benzo Recovery School. The school launched with Module 1 and will have a total of 4 modules, each module with a dozen or more video lessons. Here are some contents in Module 1. This creates the basis for my recovery program. If you know anything about my approach to benzo recovery, you know I'm a bit different than other benzo coaches in that I do not subscribe to the lay and pray model of recovery. Instead, I believe benzo injury is a kind of neurological injury that requires neurological rehabilitation. This neurological rehabilitation encompasses learning how to access our good chemistry while also reducing the so-called bad chemistry, cortisol and adrenaline, and also learning how to lull down our hypervigilant limbic system. This includes learning techniques in CBT, DBT, mindfulness therapy, and neuroplasticity building. Now, I've studied clinical psychology for the last 15 years of my life, and my benzo recovery program encompasses the same things that I use to make my own recovery after a 10-year, 40 milligram Valium dependence. My recovery program observes 4 stages of recovery with 3 tiers of development. In fact, my stages are all focused on development. This makes them different than the 3 obvious stages of recovery, which include the pre-taper, the taper, and post-taper. Instead, my stages serve as a kind of developmental roadmap, with each stage serving as a bridge to the following stage. These 4 stages include Stage 1, restoring hope, Stage 2, the new beginning, Stage 3, the montage, and Stage 4, coming home. Perhaps most importantly, each stage has 3 key learning goals and also 3 key roadblocks. These stages revealed themselves to me after years of working with literally thousands of people from all around the world. After enough experience, you begin to see patterns and trends, and you see where people triumph and what roadblocks can prevent them from moving forward. Now remember, just because you may have come off your benzo doesn't mean you automatically reach stage 4, the final stage. Again, these are developmental stages, which is why someone can come off of their benzo and still be stuck in their recovery. In fact, it's entirely possible to come off of your benzo and be stuck in stage 1. Here are some other features the online benzo recovery school offers. Aside from being a school, it's also a positive focused support group. And believe me when I tell you, my students are a different breed of benzo warriors. They are wise, they are driven, and they understand the mission. I, Coach Powers, will also be doing live video Q&A weekly in the community, talking, teaching, and answering questions from all of you. There will be downloadable resources such as a rumination and exposure therapy log, templates for checklists, and much more. Additionally, there will be new benzo sleep affirmation videos exclusive for the school, as well as new and early original content. There will be a regular benzo blog, benzo-related news, and even a private early screening for my benzo recovery feature film, Lake of Fire. All of this and only for a special introductory rate of $30 monthly while time lasts. So come join the positive community and let's work together on facilitating our recovery. See you there.